Flint used to be a mecca of the automotive industry. The culture was rich, the economy booming, and the people prospered. Paired with an educational system of the highest level of prestige, Flint was the gift of the internal combustion engine, as Egypt was the gift of the Nile.
But as General Motors dried up, so too did Flint struggle and face challenges. Egypt's promise of salvation came in the form of libraries and knowledge. This is Flint's commitment. This is Flint's soul. This is the city of promise.
I taught for 30 years, and I loved every day that I went to work. I loved my job. I loved working with students. I loved just being there. I was happy every single day.
I always strove to make it fun. Class is going to be fun. Yes, we have to study Beowulf, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to act it out, and you're going to be this person, and you're going to be this person, and we're going to do hand-to-hand stage combat, and we're going to tell the story physically. And so, even the boys loved studying Beowulf.
It was one of the most popular school districts in the country, and we had the largest population in Genesee County.
Growing up in Flint, when I was a Flint student, there were over 40,000 students in the Flint system. That was 4 high schools, 13 middle schools, and 40 elementaries. So that's what I knew Flint as a youngster coming up in this community.
And I remember one day when we were acting it out in the classroom, they did such a great job. I said, "Can you guys do that again? I'm going to go get the principal, and I'm going to have you tell the story of Beowulf just the way you told it." So we did. And he came up and he was so impressed and he clapped and he was so congratulatory. It was really I couldn't have asked for a better response. And then he asked the students, "Would you be willing to put that on our stage downstairs and have other classrooms come in and see it?" And they all looked at each other and went, yeah, we think we could do this. So they built a makeshift set out of rolls of brown contractor paper and black markers, and they had this wonderful, it was great. So yeah.
This is what we do, and this is what we stand for. We already have an amazing cultural center. We have the Flint Institute of Art, the Flint Institute of Music, the Sloan Museum, and Longway Planetarium. Every city doesn't have those things, so people just have to recognize that we are a gem.
But the value we had then is that we knew we were going to learn, we knew we had opportunity, and we knew that we were going to be successful in life because there was a village there for us.
This was the mecca of General Motors. Buick City, which is now closed, at one point, just that location alone had 20,000 people. It was a city within a city, that's what you called it. And then you had the Flint Assemblies and the metal fabs, and
we were surrounded with people that cared. We were surrounded about neighborhoods who had pride in their properties and in the value of life.
I was 16, 17 years old, and I was on the track team, and that's when I really, really, really noticed Flint. That's when it came to me. I was living in Jackson, Michigan, and I always was intrigued and had this feeling about, I think I want to live in Flint. From what I saw and the experience that I had, competing against students from the Flint system. I moved here and I said, I want my kids to grow up in that system.
The per capita income was higher in the city of Flint than it was the entire Midwest region.
Came out of the system in really good shape. Both of my sons ended up with football scholarships, one to Eastern and one to Central Michigan. And they received good education, through the Flint schools. And it benefited them in the long run because both of them are professionals now, And my family wasn't the only one that benefited from the Flint school system. It was a great system.
People are making more money than they ever dreamt of. You could come right out of high school, go right into General Motors, and make more than most attorneys and most doctors at starting out. General Motors, that's what it was. because you had people that had become so accustomed or addicted to that big money. They never thought that General Motors would ever leave. And if you do some research very quickly, you'll find out that places like your Pittsburghs and places where the steel industry just up and left, it devastated those places.
We became very prominent in that industry, and then that industry abandoned us. The entire state of Michigan has never been the same.
And I think the last year, or maybe even 2 years that I taught there, they lost 2,000 students or more because people were leaving Flint looking for jobs.
A retired teacher asked me yesterday, where'd you go to school here? Went to Roosevelt, which is no longer in existence. Fairview, which is no longer in existence. Bryant, which is no longer in existence. Homedale, which was on the east side, which is no longer in existence. Northwestern, which now is no longer in existence.
They helped run down the system, period. And they know that they were responsible too for the demise of the Flint school system. Can't call them out now, they're retired.
Flint Central had something like 22 administrators come in and out of those doors. One of them was in handcuffs. And so they were having their own issues in the office upstairs, so there wasn't anybody to pay any attention.
At this point, Flint was experiencing significant decline in both the city and the schools. As if that weren't enough, the implications of the water crisis made old wounds worse. But as the old saying goes, hard times create strong men.
I'm actually dual majoring right now in music composition and music technology.
Entertainment technology program would be the best fit for me.
I'm going to Michigan State University to study public policy and then minor in global health.
Music composition is my focus though, and that's what I want to do.
I also plan to run for a state representative in the near future so I can make changes on the legislative branch.
That part of Charles Stewart Mott's philosophy was he wanted Flint to become a college town. And as you look at it now, that is what it is evolving to.